So I want to kind of go back through the story of the widow's mite. Now I want you to think about this, okay? Jesus is in this designated room in the temple area for these people to come in and give. And we don't know if he's on the sides or he's in a corner, but he's with some of his guys. And people are coming in to start giving. And he sees a bunch of wealthy people. They come in person after person. They're giving huge, lavish amounts. And none of it is really standing out to Jesus. He doesn't care how much money these guys are bringing in. And as he's in conversation, all of a sudden this widow, this elderly widow, comes in. Now you got to remember, this woman was probably in line behind a lot of these wealthy people, watching them give these huge, lavish amounts. And here she comes in, probably with her head down, and she reaches into her pocket and she gets out 2 leptas, 2 thin copper coins, and she drops them in. They probably don't even make a sound when they hit the bottom. And Jesus stops. And this moment has captured his heart. And he looks at the guys around him and he says, guys, did you just see what happened? Did you just see what that elderly widow did? And some of them are probably like, what's going on? And Jesus is like, you don't get it. All these rich people, all of these wealthy people you have seen come in here and give all of this lavish gifts. All of them gave out of their abundance. None of them gave till it hurt. None of them gave anything that cost them anything. But did you see that widow? Did you see that widow? When she reached into her pockets and she pulled out those 2 leptas and she dropped them in there, guys, that was all she had. She has nothing back at home. She has no money hidden anywhere. That's all she had. And she just came in here and she gave it all. She gave out of her heart. She gave till it hurt. She gave what cost her. And so we see 2 beautiful stories come from this. 2 sides. One to the poor. God can do great things with a tiny gift. How many people have heard the story of the widow's mite and been challenged to give to God and maybe to give to others around them the way that God would have them to? And for the wealthy, how often do you give till it hurts? How often do you give till it costs you something? God's not against anybody being wealthy, and he's not all for everybody being poor. What God is for and after is your heart. You see, this story proves that God doesn't care about our money. He cares about our hearts. But he can't have us. He can't have our hearts apart from our money. As Jesus said earlier in Matthew, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. You see what the widow did? This was a reflection of what Jesus was about to do. Where he didn't just speak mere words of how much he loved you and me. He didn't just speak mere words about how we were the pinnacle of his creation and that he wanted to spend eternity with us. He went out and showed us what love does. And like the widow who gave it all, he goes and he gives it all. And he dies a debt that you and I deserve. And he conquers that debt so that you and I can be with him. Love costs. And so I challenge you, as you watch this video, what has your love for God cost you? Have you been giving to God, to your local church, what you're supposed to? Have you been beyond what you're supposed to give to the local church, maybe seeing other places that God wants you to be generous. Maybe it's a neighbor or a kid that your children go to school with. Maybe it's somebody in your church family that needs help. Love does, and love costs, and love pays. And Jesus set that example for us. He can do much with 2 thin copper pennies. And he can do much with you.